I've never seen a drummer before spit up in the air when he's got nowhere to run, so it doesn't come landing on him. But Bert does that.
Motorama's drummer at the time, he was at Wreck Beach, and he met Bert there, and I guess they misunderstood what he was saying. But basically, he came to us and said, "There's this guy that I met at Wreck Beach, and he said that he's the drummer in Motorama." But I guess what he had really said is, "Yeah, I played with Motorama," because he played in a band that played with Motorama. So Carl was all incensed about this. Like, who's this fucking guy saying he plays in Motorama? So when it was time to replace Carl, I was like, "Hey, we should get that guy who said he was in Motorama." So I contacted some people that I knew him and got his phone number and called him up and got him the disc, and he joined right away. And at the time, I guess he was having kind of a rough time in life, and had decided he wasn't going to play rock and roll, and was going to sell his drums, and was getting fat and stuff like that. So he always thanks me for like saving his life. Oh, as well, you can always depend on it. You know, there's always, you always know when the snare is gonna happen, and that's important. You know, you can do anything. Anything can happen on stage, and no matter how fucked up he is, like, he's been on a lot of things in a set, and I personally, there's no way I would have been able to do it. You know, like, I would just say, no, I can't play tonight. But yeah, you can always count on him, no matter what. Except for once with whiskey, he drank a lot of whiskey, and it was still fine. But yeah, it wasn't what we were used to. That was a pretty funny day.
He'd come out for his first practice, and like I said, you know, he was not happy with his conditioning and blah blah blah. He was also very, very bitter and about life at the time, which is very uncharacteristic. It's not like Bert to be like that. And so he was all bitter, and he's bitching about my conditioning is no good and this and that. And then we said, okay, well, you're in the band, or rather, Marcus said, you're in the band. And then we played a show with him the next week. And then, like, within 30 days, we recorded a record with him. And he wasn't happy about that either, you know, in one respect, because he was like, well, I could do this all so much better. But it was stuff that we had already worked out with a previous drummer, and it was all ready to go, right? And so he kind of got thrown into really thrown into the fucking fire. You know, come out, practice with us. Oh, you try out. Oh, you're in the band. Next weekend you play a show. 3 weeks later you're recording a record, and then a couple weeks later you're on tour.
I don't need anyone. Don't need no mom and dad. Don't need no good advice. Don't need no human rights. I've got some news for you. Don't even need you to.
I think it was the first tour with Bert, and we were heading from Portland to Northern California, and we stopped at some little Mexican place in I can't remember the name, Wairika. That's where it was. And he ate one of those deep fried beef burritos, and immediately, and I gave him some vitamins as well at the same time. So he thought maybe it was the vitamins, maybe the beef burrito, but he felt kind of ill, and I'm like, no, it's probably just the vitamins you're not used to. And it'll pass or whatever. And then he's like, no, I gotta puke. So we're driving still. You know, we left Wairika and we're driving towards Reading, and he managed to find an empty bag in the car, and I think he's sitting in the passenger seat right next to me, and he's just like throwing up into this bag, and then he's like, he's just like holding it, and I'm like, well, you know, you should probably get rid of that thing. But he's concerned about the cars behind us seeing him litter. So we waited until we went around a corner and there's nobody behind us for a moment, and he like threw the bag out the window. But and then he suggested that we have a Motorama logo where it's the van on the highway with puke spelling Motorama on the side of it, because he throws a fair amount. He's got a queasy stomach. I guess he's nervous or something about something, I don't know.
Then my first real incredible memory of Bert was going on tour for the first time. And so it was like kind of September time frame, early fall, and we were going down for something like maybe a 7-day or 10-day tour in down through Washington State and Oregon and California, probably and back. Right, so we picked him up at his condo, and he comes out and he's carrying a plastic bag, right, like a grocery bag, right? And that's it. He's wearing a pair of shorts and a t-shirt with the sleeves ripped off. He gets in the van, and Marcus is like, "Okay, you ready to go? Well, where's your bag?" And Bert holds up this plastic bag, right? And the contents of the bag were a pair of white tube socks and a toothbrush. And we were going away for 7 days. And I just looked and I was like, this guy is fucked.
Said I had to work every day at 3. I said that so that could not possibly be, because I don't know what day it is, and I don't care what time it is, and that's all shit invented by people that piss me off.
So we're playing at the sushi restaurant, Strugglers and Suck Up to God. Cat D having the Strugglers and Suck Up to God, and it was one of our best shows at the sushi restaurant, where there was like, well, there was quite a few people there to see Suck Up to God, and all the girls were there to see Suck Up to God, of course. And so we're playing on stage, and as the show's going on, Bert is wearing less and less clothing. And then towards the end of the show, now Hoko's is in East Hastings, in East Vancouver. It's, you know, a nice place, but, you know, it's maybe not, you know, the kind of place where you want to do a naked swim across the linoleum floor. And Bert's flat on his stomach like this, naked, in the sushi bar in East Hastings, and proceeds to get up and go to the table where my friend from work, who had brought in his, I don't know, kind of lame, boring Christian friend, to sit at the same table with them, as they looked on horrified as Bert grabbed all of the soya sauce and whatever other kind of sauce was on the table and proceeded to go like this and pour it all down his glistening naked body. So you have to ask someone in Suck Up to God this. I would imagine they were a little nervous going on that night, because it was a pretty good show.
Well, you guys trashed the place. So
and then, oh wait, the best part was, at the end of the night, instead of the Japanese sushi restaurant owner being horrified, as he should be, this Japanese guy in his 50s loved it so much, I don't think I paid for a drink the rest of the night, because he just kept feeding us booze, because he was so happy with the show, which is kind of the opposite reaction than what we were going for, but 50-year-old Japanese guy getting into it, it's kind of funny.
I think they made some money.
They probably made some money off all the girls that Suck Up to God brought to the show. Swimming in pussy is what I'm saying.
You know, he's one of these, there's a couple of artists in town that really have an intensity in their performance, and that really comes across on the camera. And like I said, Bert's one of them. And there's about 4 people in the city that I really adore what's happening, because there's just so much to play with. Not that, I don't know, it's just a very, very particular focus.
Got me a party, then you better be one. We're having fun, well, something always gets on. Sometimes it's your feelings, sometimes it's your face, sometimes it's the furniture and yours is the place. Wait, all lost in the sale, I'm with me, nothing to lose. Struggle to stop, wave on a ball that's known as your memory was set on the throat. And struggle to stop, stop my time, but there's no better time. What we do now
in a band with Bert's easy because you don't even have to be any good because he's such a spectacle that even if you're screwing up every song, which, you know, sometimes, you know, I probably did because of the booze and drugs, not because I'm not a good bass player. Just saying. But I've never seen someone bleed on stage as much as Bert. At the Railway Club, I was playing the bass and I felt these drops hit my hand, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm bleeding somehow. Because it was a lot of blood, so the only place that it could conceivably coming from is somewhere on me. But then I look up, and not only is Jerry's face covered in it, but so is Bert's from this big gash on his head. Because I guess at one point he decided to headbutt the microphone a little bit.
Except for maybe Cal Thompson, I'd say Bert has the most absolutely casual disregard for his own personal safety of anyone I've ever met. I think I'd have to see the G.G. Allen documentary again to look at something. This man does not care. That's refreshing. I would not do that. I'm glad there's people out there like to do that. I could not do that, but because when I came to the Strugglers, I think they had 6 songs and basically, you know, chasing their own arses, and we got in there and fixed stuff up, and the guy would rise to the occasion. And Rich didn't have lyrics. I didn't have lyrics. But the two of us would come up with some good riffs. And Bert, before we even hashed out the end of the song, Bert's already got a full set of lyrics, and they're hysterical, right? And so we would just run with it. And I can probably count in less than one hand the number of shows I did with them that were really great, because I love those guys. We'll put a bunch of it's a rock band. Enough said. That's all I can say.